Yo, Breezy.
Yeah.
Right now, there seems to be a bit of a black cloud over our San Francisco 49ers. Injuries popping up that weren't reported after games. Other injuries that were reported seem to be extended now. And who knows if the people that held out are ever going to show up in midseason form. We're going to discuss all of that and more on today's episode of No Harm, No Foul. You ready to do it?
Let's get it, baby.
Yeah. What's going on, faithful? It's your boys Mike and Wayne, and we are here for another episode of No Harm, No Foul, man. And this is going to be an interesting one. I can't promise you guys that it's going to be a fun one, but I can promise you guys that it'll be entertaining. Wayne, man, before we get into all that, how are you doing today, man? How you feeling?
I'm good. I feel good to go. Got my trusty book here. Been going through film. Gonna have that up for the Patreon members shortly. It was fun. Kind of break. Not fun. There's too many damn pass attempts.
Ooh. All
Way
right.
too many.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I like that already. Now, I saw you earlier today riding in the car. Were you coming from the gym? You still got the tank top on, or was this like that's just the apparel for today? Like, what's going on, man? Sun's out, guns out.
Yeah, this the apparel. This is my clothing brand, sponsored by Chubbies. It's George Kittle's clothing brand. I kind of like to wear this as a recovery outfit after I go real heavy in the gym. Fits on the body pretty good, you know what I'm saying, and kind of helps repair some of these the muscles. Today was a back day, so it was deadlifts. I don't even know. It was just dead. It starts with deadlifts, and after that, I was cussing the whole way through because it started off with that. Actually, it started off with bicep curls, and then it went to the deadlifts. I'm like, come on, man. So I started it off with the deadlifts because I wanted to get the heaviest joint out the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm good.
You know, I'm happy to hear that you're doing good. I'm happy to see that you're still hitting the gym and everything, and you're staying healthy. You know, because physical health is mental wealth, and I believe it's going to pay some long-term dividends for you, brother. So I'm happy to see that you are going through with all of that, man. But bro, we got to talk about this, man. Now I know we did a little bit of a recap, and we've both done our reaction shows, overreaction shows. And you were in the middle of this breakdown here. Too many passes, but we were trailing by double digits. I mean, isn't that part of the course? Isn't that just kind of how football goes? Isn't that how football is dictated? Last week, we had the exact opposite, right? We had double-digit lead, and it was closer to a 50-50 split between run and passing. So shouldn't it naturally be more pass attempts?
I mean, when you're trailing, when you're trailing, yeah. But still, too many pass attempts. Like, they got to figure out how to not trail. I think that's my point. Like, don't trail. Don't have to have 38 pass attempts or whatever Brock was. But he dropped back 45 times, so that's like crazy, right? Like, so 45 times, there's 3 penalties. So 42, it's crazy. 42 snaps, pass. It's just crazy. It's a lot, though. It's a lot. So, I'm going through it, and I'm like, all right, so some good, some bad, some ugly, obviously. Ugly would be the turnovers. The bad would be some just weird throws, and the good would be the ones that were completed. The thing I did see was Brandon Ayuk running routes and getting open. I'll leave it there. So, go ahead. I'll leave it there.
Well, let's go ahead and get into this, man. I don't know if you guys saw the graphic or not. Wayne, did you see the graphic we did for today?
Nah,
the sky is falling. I put a nice dark cloud over Levi Stadium, man. I'm kind of proud of myself, man. I'm getting the hang of this, make a graphic thing for each episode. Like, this was never my thing. I don't know if y'all know this about me or not, but I just wanted to do the content. I just wanted to talk. But I don't know if you can see how cloudy it is over Levi's, like weathering the storm. Like, that's kind of what we're in the midst of right now, And part of that storm is the absence of production of Brandon Ayuk. And I'm seeing a lot of finger pointing. This is the $30 million man. Where's he at? When's he going to show up? Without spoiling too much of your Patreon stuff, did you see what I saw? Because I saw some missed opportunities from both games. Not just don't let the win confuse you guys in week 1. I
When you
saw
say
some
miss-
open Ayuk.
Oh yeah, so when you say missed opportunities, I was just trying to get you to clarify what you mean. Because he did drop. He dropped in the first game. He had a drop pass, and then one of his passes was deflected by it was a PBU by Sauce, right? So in this game, I didn't think like he caught the balls that were thrown to him, and the only pass he didn't catch was the one that was overthrown. So like, I don't know what we want from Brandon Ayuk because they're defending him. They're setting him up to not break off down the field. But I watched him find many holes in the zone, and on those targets, he had 5 targets. He was targeted 5 times. Not a lot, but isn't that typically the normal number of Brandon Ayuk's targets? He just usually get bigger production from it, but they're not allowing him to get the yak this year, like as of right now. Now, is he slow? Is he out of shape? I don't know. I don't see that. Is the timing, the chemistry off? Could be. That's what camp is for. But, in this game, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 43 yards. It's not good, but it's not bad. He did what he was asked to do. He caught 4 out of the 5 targets. And in that one target, wide open in the end zone, bro. And Brock bootleg to the left and overthrew Brandon Ayuk, which would have been 6 points. He was wide open. He had the guy beat by 5 yards in the end zone. That's how big the end zone is.
Well, the end zone is huge. It's 10 feet deep, and
that's what I'm saying. Like, but it don't look like it's deep. Like on TV.
I know what you mean. When you're watching it live, it feels like it's like
when
this
you
much
go
of a
onto
window.
the football field, you be like, "Oh, I could catch this shit. I got mad space, right?" Like,
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay, so part of the dark cloud then is not just whether or not Brandon Ayuk is in shape. It's also that chemistry seems to not be there between him and Brock Purdy. And maybe it's a play calling thing, but that means that the chemistry is not there between Kyle and Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk, right? And then we worry about the offensive line because I didn't think the offensive line played that well at all in this game. Now, they had their moments for sure, but every line and every game has their moments. But I saw a lot of folding of the offensive line. I saw a lot of consistently inconsistent performances from very star players on our offensive line. Let me ask you this, and I don't know if you got to it yet. What do you think of Dominic Pooney in this game? Are the grades out for just him? I'm not worried about Trent Williams. Trent will get back to shape. He will be Trent. I'm not worried about whoever's playing left guard. They will get back to it. They will be good. But I want to know if Dominic Pooney held up in this game because I don't remember calling his name many times. I don't remember seeing many errors for him, but he did have his hands full. It seemed like every time I looked up, there were 2 people coming right at him.
Nah, there really wasn't 2 people coming right at him every time you looked up, but no, it wasn't like that. Like, I didn't think the offensive line was bad. So it's all how you perceive on what you expect the offensive line to do. I mean, you could go with those 6 sacks, but they blitzed. So on like 2 of those sacks were Brock Purdy trying to get back to the line of scrimmage, and unfortunately he didn't make it back to the line of scrimmage, so they're sacks, right? It wasn't like he was standing in the pocket. He moved out to the right on one, moved out to the left on the other, and just couldn't get back to the line of scrimmage, so it's resulted as a sack. And I think one of those or both of those were actually for 0 yards, so he even got back to the line, but they still recorded it as a sack. The other 4 sacks, I know we were watching. So on TV, it looked like when the one that Trent gave up, the McKivitz gave up a sack, Trent gave up a sack. So it looked like the one that Trent gave up, right? And I'm not trying to save face for Trent Williams or whatever, but watching it on the film, it was different looking. Like, so on TV, I'm like, dang, Trent just let the dude go past him. That's not what happened on the film. Yo, when I tell you real life, the action of the football is fast, right? What they did was they sent there was 2 plays and somebody, I think I was on Bleacher Report, and I'm glad that he brought it up, and I couldn't figure out what the fuck he was talking about, right? Because he said he thinks that Trent was responsible for 2 sacks. And I was like, no, I only seen that one where it looked like Trent just let the guy blow past him. And so when I looked at that play and I watched it on the film, they sent It was weird. They sent 2 people at Trent. Trent took one of the persons, but the other person pushed the person into Trent and just knocked him out of the play. It was like super weird. It happened that fast where Trent just gave up the pressure and the sack.
So did it appear to be a stunt on camera? Did it look like 2 guys just looping?
No, that's what I'm trying to say. So he hiked the ball. We can't show film no more because you're gonna get flagged. So he hiked the ball, and then when Trent dropped back, he took the outside guy. But then there was a guy on the inside that they sent as well, like a blitzer. So like they blitzed a lot. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so that guy came, and when Trent went to go push to the inside, that guy pushed Trent into the other guy and gave up the sack. Like that was weird.
Okay.
It just doesn't look like it happens on. When you watching it in real time, it didn't look like that's what happened. It looked like Trent just got blown past. He got pushed past. It's on my Patreon. So I'm gonna put it on the Patreon once I do the film on Brock Purdy's throws. So if you pay the $5, you're gonna see it, and I'll break it down and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about on the Patreon. And then you will be like, oh snap, damn. But he's still responsible for giving up that pressure. Trent gave up 4 pressures in this game, but a couple of them were from blitzes. Like I'm trying to tell you, like the blitzing confused the hell out of the offensive line, right? They blitzed 51.1% of the time in this game. On 23 of Brock Purdy's dropbacks, they blitzed, bro. How many times did I say Brock Purdy dropped back? 45 times. So 50.1% they blitzed. They only blitzed 20-something% against the Giants.
Right.
They made sure they were coming after Brock Purdy in this game. It was crazy. So
were the blitzes coming down the middle or from the outside?
They were coming. There were some stunts. There was one play where Andrew Van Ginkel, your dude, his sack was dope. Like,
all right.
Yes, we are.
Make sure y'all join the Patreon because we got to see these.
But his sack was dope because his sack is what we be wanting the 49er players to do when you stunt. He started off on Trent's side, he dropped back, ran across the side of the field, and got the pressure and the sack on the opposite side. That's how you stunt. Like, that's a stunt. But I think it's because of his skill set. He must be pretty fast if he's able to go from left tackle to right tackle to make the sack. See what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
It comes down to your players, too. We tried to stunt just doing little X's, and it didn't work in this game. You know? So,
okay.
I didn't think the offensive line was bad. They just had spurts where they weren't great.
Let me ask you this question, and we'll get off of it. Were you more disappointed in the offense or the defense of the 49ers?
Well, I was more disappointed with the offense than the defense. Okay. Because I feel like the offense is more experienced. The offense should be more in sync, and the offense should be able to put up more than 17 points. It's okay to have that first drive where you kind of like stall, but let's not talk. Let's not forget that the offense also finished this game 2 for 10 on third downs. Like, that's terrible. And I know the defense was bad too, because the defense gave up 7 first downs on third downs. Like, they went 7 for 12 on third down, right? So like, it was just a bad third down game for both sides, bro.
I know you complimented Van Ginkel. I'm gonna compliment the offense. Yo, when they flipped that switch and decided to go no huddle and that hurry up,
it changed the game.
Ooh. But when we gonna start doing stuff like that? We don't ever do that.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, and it's because we not have a couple of sets of plays, a couple plays back to back, or I don't know. Maybe Kyle's just not unleashing that. Like, you know what I mean? Kyle maybe not be unleashing that. And I'm not saying because Don't Bother Me says so Trent got bullied, bro. Mm-hmm. It's 2-on-1. Yeah, I guess he couldn't take 2 people at that time.
You're supposed to get bullied if you're getting jumped. Like, so that's
what I'm saying. Like, so like if it was 1-on-1, then he would have got bullied. But it wasn't 1-on-1. They literally came at Trent,
pushed my man around. Yeah,
you got to see it. I never seen that before in my life. I never seen another player use their player to knock the player away. That's what I'm trying to say. That job was dope. Like I said, the game plan was dope from Brian Flores. I ain't gonna stunt.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's that, man. Listen, we're gonna try to take a look ahead because I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I think darker days might be coming down the stretch here. Now, the schedule might be favorable for a couple of get right opportunities, maybe some momentum shifts and all that. We're only going to look ahead these next 4 games. Well, Mike, why are you saying 4 games? Go ahead, ask me why I'm saying 4 games.
Why are you saying 4 games?
Why you ask me what I just told you to ask me? Like, you silly. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I know. I'm just messing with you, man. I wanted you to ask me, right? So the next 4 games is because we know that in 3 games, we got Christian McCaffrey coming back, but I still think he's going to be a shell of himself. I don't think he's going to be just ready to go and take on full load.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Right? But he should be back. I think Debo is going to be gone for at least 2 weeks, and then when he comes back, he too will also be on a pitch count.
Yep, that's fair.
That means that
that's the way. That's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that means that Cardinals, Seahawks, division games, important games, we are going to probably try to hit our offensive stride and what we look like without those guys. Can we sustain without Debo and CMC? Like, let's sprinkle them in a little bit. They'll be back, but let's kind of sprinkle them in a little bit just to see if we learned anything in the previous 2 games. So that's what I want to look at here. I think the next 2 games are going to be the roughest, but again, there's some opportunity to look good because of our opponents. But then the 2 games after that are going to be really, really important. So let's try to forecast this thing here, man. See what I'm doing with weathering the storm and the clouds? And let's forecast here, right? 4 games, forecast. All right, your boy is in his bag. Y'all just don't know it. 3 of these 4 opponents, Wayne, are divisional games. This is an important 4-game stretch. Maybe the most important 4-game stretch of the whole season, given that we're 1-1 right now. Mm-hmm. Given the injuries that we have right now, given the way Brock Purdy just isn't quite playing like Brock Purdy.
Okay.
How do you see it going against the Rams, man? Like, give me the worst case scenario.
There's no way the Niners lose this game to the Rams. It doesn't matter.
That's worst case scenario. We're gonna win.
Yeah, there's not even where. There's no way. Like, this is a game. This is a team. This is a coach that Kyle, if he don't prep for any other game, he preps for this game. It doesn't matter if he got Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, no Trent Williams, no this, no that. He preps for the Rams. Now, in the 49ers' favor, they're dealing with a lot of injuries and players that are going to be out as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting to see the Rams game plan, which I feel like we know, right? Matthew Stafford's going to try to get the ball in his hand real quick. Can his guys make plays? They're going to screen game up with Kyron Williams. They'll probably use 2 running backs because 2 running backs worked against the 49ers defense against the Minnesota Vikings. You see what I'm going here? Like Ty Chandler was the pounder guy, and they tried to get Aaron Jones out to the outside. Well, they'll probably get Kyron Williams out to the outside and probably use the rookie Blake Corum, to pound up the middle or whatever. So they're going to come out with a game plan, but the Niners got to find a way to negate that game plan. They got to find a way to stop it, and I think they can. Like, I feel like they're built to stop the Rams, and they're built to stop the Rams with the Rams stars. They don't have Aaron Donald anymore defensively, and their defense is a shell of itself. So if the Niners just attack the middle of the field, the Rams don't have a safety. He's out for a while. The Rams don't like their defense. They don't have the pass rush. They're done. Like their pass rush is like obsolete. So it's gonna be interesting. Now, there's things that the Niners do though, Mike, that makes you go, what is going on here, right? Because we watched it in this Minnesota game. There's no way Minnesota should have beat the 49ers if the Niners were on their A game. So it comes down to the Niners. I don't even know if it took an A game to beat. I don't even know if it took a game to beat the Vikings. I feel like the Niners should just be on their A game every single week, right? Like, I mean, like you can't have one person on their A game and everybody else on their F game. That don't average out to anything good.
Mm-hmm.
So the Niners got to be, you know what I mean? The Niners got to they got to bring it, like, which they do. They usually get right against the Rams, and that's when the Rams usually have their weapons.
I hope, much like this past Sunday, that history repeats itself and the Niners continue their streak in dominance against the Rams in regular season games where their starters play. And I hope that they continue to be our get right team, because you are absolutely right. I remember 2019. Nope. It was the one before it, 2021. And we needed that Rams game bad. Mm-hmm. That Rams game was the one that really, really sparked this team. Kicked off a 5-game win streak, if I'm not mistaken. So we needed that Rams game bad. All right, so you're saying worst case scenario, we still get the dub. It might not be as pretty as we want, but this is the game that...
And it's okay if it's not pretty, right? Because the Niners do got to learn how to win gritty games. I think the Niners don't know how to win gritty games. I think it's fair to say that during the regular season, they can't win a gritty game. Can they win a comeback game? See, comeback game is different than a gritty game.
Because it's about the momentum shift.
Because
like that whole
it's about
second
the
half of that
momentum
Lions
shift.
game?
Yes, sir. That's a comeback game.
Do you consider that? See, I never considered it, but I'm going to ask you, though. Did you consider that Packers playoff game a gritty game?
I didn't think it was a gritty game. I felt like the Niners were in control of that game. It just was too close than it needed to be.
It was closer than comfort. Yeah.
But it wasn't gritty. For me, gritty is like, you going down, you scoring, they scoring.
Man,
like
13-17. Like, let's get it.
Gritty. Where the defense is just balling out on both sides of the field, and somebody got to make a mistake. And I think the Niners just got to clean up their mistakes, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, the penalties kill drives. Like, and the Niners had 3 penalties last week, 4 penalties last week. They all were on offense.
Yeah.
2 false starts, a holding call. I mean, the Debo hold was the Jordan Mason's, like, he had like a 20-yard game.
He hates Debo. I mean, he hates Mason. I'm kidding, by the way. I'm kidding. By the way, listen, I'm going to say this is a positive for Debo and his holding penalties. We sat around and complained for 4 seasons straight that Debo was not a blocker.
You sat around and complained.
That's fine. All right, me. I did it. You're right.
Don't say we.
That's fine. But there was other people agreeing with me, but that's cool. I sat around and complained for 4 seasons straight that Debo is trash at blocking. He don't attempt to block.
I think them ticky-tacky hold calls too, bro. Like,
they were both ticky-tacky, and I applaud the effort to get better at blocking. That's what I'm doing. I'm applauding that effort. Good job, Debo.
I think the second one was he grabbed a little bit more than the first one. First one was definitely ticky-tacky. I thought the second one was kind of ticky-tacky too, yo. It's like the dude had his hands up under his pads, but he wasn't trying to hold them. Like, it's all momentum, and you slow it down, it looked like a hole, but in real time, it's not a hole.
All right.
But you're right. We commend him for blocking.
Here's my worst case scenario, man. We get the most desperate version of the Rams. They are winless. They are the only winless team in the NFC West right now. They are at the very bottom staring up, and we all know the stats. Once you get down to 0-3, you have a less than 25% chance of making the postseason. I believe that we are going to get their best shot. I believe that their backup players are used to playing because they've been injury riddled. So their backup players are more like rotational players, where our backup players are like, yeah, the team ain't really going to use me. So I think it'll be a closer game than what we expect. I'll save my prediction for later on, though. But I do appreciate Wayne saying that he doesn't think that there's a way that we lose this.
But if our backup players are playing, if our starters are playing their backup players, you think our starters can't handle their backup players?
Our starters just got handled by the Vikings backup players.
Not the whole game. It was on one series, bro. It was one series.
The whole second half.
It was not the whole second half. It was that one series where they got taken care of. Like, the both teams had long drives, so you can't say the whole second half. The 49ers had a long drive. The Vikings had a long drive because they extended those third downs. So it was that one series where those third downs really took over.
There was no Justin Jefferson or Addison the whole second half.
I understand but you can't say the whole second half they took it. They handled the Niners.
They started taking Aaron Jones out.
They had to take Aaron Jones out because he fumbled the ball.
Then they had no Hockenson, backup tight end. Like, it was plenty of backups out there against our starters, and we got handled.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that it wasn't like their starter. Our defense, on the young defense, got taken advantage of by receivers doing their job. It came down to execution, in my opinion. And you're looking at our defenders just didn't execute properly, or they didn't know what to do. So when they saw a certain type of formation, it tripped them up. That's what I saw. Did they get handled? Yeah, but it wasn't like Sam Darnold was cooking them in the second half. He cooked them to keep the drives alive.
Well, the next game is against the second place in their division, New England Patriots. But we get to come back home. And the faithful get to kind of hype up their team here. So we got one on the road, and now we back home right here. Here we go. Give me worst case scenario for this Patriots team. Are the Patriots sneaky good, or are they just low scoring and lucky? Because they're 1-1. They have scored 36 points. They have allowed 33 points.
They beat the Bengals, and they lost to the Seahawks.
Barely.
Right. So they're not sneaky good. They're just trying to, they just got to figure out how to win games. They're going to be traveling to California, though, so that's going to be tough. But at home, first of all, Cincinnati is a divisional or conference game. So they're used to playing that particular team at some point. I thought the Patriots were going to beat the Seahawks, which they were until the end. So unfortunately, they couldn't, offensively they're going to struggle. But the one thing that they do really well is run the ball. And so if we struggle in stopping the run, which we're ranked 16th, that's going to be a problem because they got two running backs, Antonio Gibson, Ramondre Stevenson, that are going to look to pound the ball. And if our run defense struggled against Ty Chandler when they pounded the ball, we didn't allow the outside zone runs. We gave up maybe one outside zone run in that game. It was, and I could tell you when it was. It was when Nick Bosa tried to cheat, and he cut too far inside, and then he got pinned inside, and he gave up the containment. Remember I told you, he gave up containment, and that was a big run. That was Aaron Jones' most explosive play throughout that game. He finished the game with 33 yards. He probably got 25 on that one run. Ty Chandler was the one that was gashing him up the middle. So it's going to come down to, will the Niners do, what? The keys to every victory is to run the ball and take away the run. The reason why we lost that game, they made us one-dimensional. That's our strategy.
Yeah.
Make Jacoby Brissett drop back 45 times, 50 times, and beat you.
Got to get up on some points. And right now, they have the 5th best scoring defense in the NFL. So easier said than done now, granted. It's only 2 weeks. And granted, they haven't really played anybody, right? I get it. But it is what it is. It is until it isn't, right? So they are traveling. They're coming west. Worst case scenario, you still think this is a win? A worst case scenario?
I feel like the Niners will beat these next two teams, Rams, Patriots. Yep.
Okay. And I hear the hesitation already, so let's just.
Well, I already had this. I think I had this game as a loss on my prediction. I had us losing to the Cardinals. I just can't remember if it was the first one or the last one. Just can't remember. Got you. All
right, but this is the home one. Matter of fact, I think you had the home one because I tried to argue with you about switching it. I think I was like, if we're going to give us a loss, give us the one loss to them. But that's the last one, and we didn't even know if the players were going to be, the starters were going to be playing. That's what we debated because it's the last game of the season. All right, so then we won't even go in the worst case scenario on that one. We'll skip that one. And in less than 2 minutes here, what about the Seahawks game? Now, this is going to be my first time in Seattle, so I'm happy about that. I will be traveling to this one. But we should have Debo. We should have McCaffrey. But what version of those guys, and is this where we see the transformation come together?
As long as those guys, listen, it's not like, so for Debo is a little different than Christian McCaffrey, right? As far as the return, because Debo won't take as much time to get back into swing of action if he's cleared to play. Debo's been playing football. He's been in the training camp. He's been at the practices. He's been playing in the first 2 games. It was unfortunate he ended up with a calf strain, right? So when Debo returns, it all depends on how Kyle Shanahan chooses to use him. So maybe Kyle doesn't use him on the screens, or not the screens, but the maybe not the screen, maybe not that screen.
That's right.
I'd rather Kyle Shanahan. So I get why everybody's pissed off too. The screens to the side don't work. That ain't never worked. The screens in front work. Why are we not doing the screens in front? When I say screens, I'm not trying to throw bubble screens, okay? Because the bubble screens, these defenses are teeing off on us.
You're talking about basically the glorified slants, where the defenders on this side start running up, the guy comes underneath, and he follows his convoy.
Correct. You want the screens in front, like the George Kittle play. That was a tight end screen. It was like a slip screen. He blocked, went out, caught the ball. Trent Williams led the block. He got into the end zone for an 8-yard touchdown. Like, that's a screen. Like, those are also considered screens. It's when we throw the bubble screens. The bubble screens used to work, but for some reason on the goal line, I don't get why you're throwing a bubble screen. If anything, throw the screen in front of you. Set up the halfback screen and let those guys go out there and block. Like, there's so many different types of screens you could utilize that'll work. Teams do it against us all the time. I don't know why we don't bite a page from their book, but yeah.
Which one of these games do you think first-round rookie Ricky Pearsall makes his appearance in? Because it will be one of these 4.
It might not be one of these 4. It may not be, even though he's gonna come back off the PUP, the Cardinals week, Patriots week after the Patriots game. So week 5 is when they can designate him to the active roster. He has to go through practice. He has to do all that. I still ain't seen this motherfucker practice. So at the end of the day,
and when it was don't touch me.
Right.
Blue
That's
jersey.
what I mean. That's what I meant. He hasn't had a full practice, like where he not in a blue non-contact jersey. So I don't know.
I'll be honest with you.
Available.
I think he makes his debut Thursday night against the Seahawks, mainly because it's a short week. We travel, and it would be good for the rotation, introducing Debo back into the lineup also. Just another set of legs out there for the wide receivers. We don't need him to do too much. We got Debo back. We got Ayuk in his mix. He should be in midseason form by then, and we can sprinkle him in there a little bit with Juwan Jennings also. So I believe the Seahawks game is when Pearsall will make his NFL debut for the 49ers.
And see, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So,
yeah, and worst case scenario for me, this is going to be a tougher game than all of them on this whole. I think this is the toughest game.
So it is, because it's not just because it's the Seahawks though. If this was the Pete Carroll Seahawks, the Niners, this would be an easy win. But it's not the Pete Carroll Seahawks. Now, Seahawks, I don't know how long they're going to be without Kenneth Walker, the 4th, but he's injured. They do have Zach Charbonnet. He looks like he's running the ball hard. They got weapons. Jackson Smith and Jigba, all those guys, right? The issue for me with the Seahawks is, will their defense be like locked in to this Mike McDonald's defense by then? And we know that Mike McDonald's defense gave Kyle Shanahan issues in the Christmas game when the Niners played the Ravens. We also know that Kyle Shanahan struggles against certain defensive coordinators. I'll name them. You ready? Brian Flores, Steve Spags, and Mike McDonald. So, like, will that aggressive, heavy blitz style be?
Yeah.
And they didn't even blitz a lot in the Ravens game. They just had big defensive backs at the line of scrimmage, blocking the vision and batting balls down. And Brock Purdy has a lot of batted balls down this year so far.
Yeah. I don't think we get through these 4 games unscathed. I think we do take another loss. Which one, again, I will save for later. Maybe we lose even more than one of these games. But again, I will save those predictions for later on. We do have a super chat here really quick. Thank you for my guy, Sean. Where are my horns at? Oh, we did it damn near at the same time. That's crazy. All right. Good job, man. Look at you. We got our Maki Dada moment. We haven't had one of those in a while, man. That's good. He says, it's that time of year, fam. Think all of you've done wrong. Think of all you've done wrong. The Lamb Atonement is this weekend at SoFi Stadium. I get it, because, back in the day, to apologize and repent, you had to sacrifice the lamb. It's SoFi Stadium. You ever had fried lamb before?
fried lamb,
Yeah.
like pan-seared fried, yes,
Okay.
not fried like
Not
in
breaded fried.
breaded
like
fried no.
chicken. Yeah.
And
No,
Jim Schwartz
that-
too. That's another defensive coordinator. Kyle
Jim
can't beat.
Schwartz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one that he struggles against. That's it might actually be illegal to deep fry lamb like that. Like,
We don't
breaded
have to
and-
deep fry it. You could still fry it in a pan with flour.
I'm just saying breaded. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen lamb
I don't
breaded
think
and fried
Yeah,
before.
that sounds
Like,
that sounds weird, right?
Yeah. So, but yes, I do agree here, Sean. I like this, man. It is the week of atonement. So, that's what we do. We're going to make the sacrifice. Jim Everett, good to see you back in the chats, man. And I hope that you think that we are vulnerable. McVay has a plan B because all of his plan A's are on the sideline.
He's
So-
gonna need a plan B. I
Yeah.
can tell you that.
Yeah. Wayne, that's going to do it for our episode today, man. We went a little overtime, but I want to thank you all for rocking out with us. You guys were fantastic. Thank you all for your patience, man. Make sure you guys get on over there and follow and subscribe to Wayne's Patreon. He told you all about it already. Make sure you get there and subscribe to his YouTube page. If you are not there, it is also right there. That's the handle there. And then you can follow him on X. Right? That's also the handle. This guy keeps it easy, man. One-stop shopping there. That's going to do it for us today, man. Thank you all very much. Wayne, you ready to go?
Let's get it, baby.
No team
No
is
team
safe.
safe.
When the
I was gonna
Niners
do
are
it.
on the prowl.
You
Oh,
have
you
to
going? Oh, you got
No.
bust it down. Go ahead. No, I
team
want to hear
is
you. Let's
safe
go.
when the Niners are on the prowl. That's Mike. This breezy. No harm, no foul.